What an indictment on this government to do this to the very people that has held this NHS together, not just through the pandemic, but in an NHS that has been run into the ground and in crisis caused by this government. But where do we go from here? Well, of course, our nursing staff will not do anything that isn't legal. We will continue to have strike action on Sunday evening and again on Monday, but we won't be taking strike action on the 2nd of May. Our nurses have carried out very safe legal action to date, and Steve Barclay can continue to threaten them with their registration, and he can continue, if he wishes to drag them through court proceedings. But what he needs to do is get into a negotiating room and start to talk to the nurses of England, sort out this dispute and allow them to get back to their work. This is no way to treat them.
And why did you plan a strike, half of which wasn't going to be legal?
Well, we have still got our opinion on that. Their government's own documents is confusing on this, and that was in my statement that I've submitted to these courts. But today what I have said is this is no way to treat the nursing staff in England. It's no way to drive a wedge between government and the very people that are holding this health service together. But let's move on now. What we will do after this weekend is ballot our members for a further 6 months of industrial action if Steve Barclay continues to ignore their voice, and that will happen immediately.
He will feel that he has the upper hand though. It's going to make negotiating with Steve Barclay even more difficult.
Look, this government can feel they have the upper hand over nursing any day of the week. But the most important thing is that the public trust our nursing staff. The public have stood behind our nursing staff in the way that our nursing staff have stood behind the public, and we'll continue to do that. The nurses' voice will not be dampened by Steve Barclay or this government. They will continue to fight for the NHS, fight for patients, particularly those 7.2 million people that are sitting in waiting lists. That's where his concentration should be today, not on this courtroom.
You must have known this was futile a week ago, perhaps more. I understand the importance of staying strong for your members, but what about the patients who haven't known whether they're going to be seen on Tuesday or not?
I'd say back to you is that every day that we have taken strike action, we've said we're sorry. We're sorry for those 7.2 million people plus that are sitting on waiting lists. We're sorry that we haven't been able to fill the tens of thousands of vacant posts by getting this government into a room and negotiating properly and decently for nursing. That's what our aim is, to address those waiting lists, to make sure people get a decent NHS in this country and that it doesn't continue to crumble under this government. So thank you. Thanks, everybody.